Hi, I'm going to give a presentation on a project that I've been working on for a number of years now with UN Habitat and other collaborators. And it's a new version of the pattern language book that I think many of you are familiar with. This time it includes a companion wiki, which is editable and able to be modified to fit a specific project and to do some other things that I'll describe. So we think this is very exciting stuff. I mentioned that this is a partnership with UN Habitat, and I think some of you are familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Climate Agreement of a few years ago, and also most relevant for us in the urban field, the new urban agenda. And that's a big deal because new urbanism or walkable mixed-use urbanism, whatever you want to call it, has been enshrined in international policy now, adopted by acclamation by all 193 countries of the United Nations. What you'll see if you compare the new urban agenda with the charter of the new urbanism is a lot of point-for-point agreement. And you'll see, for example, on the issues of polycentrism, compact, walkable, mixed use, and I'm not going to read through all this text, by the way, but you'll get the idea. The importance of public space, not just as an amenity, but as a network that runs throughout the city. The importance of multimodal streets and transportation for walking, bikes, and transit, as well as the car. Buildings that shape and define and connect public space is very important and very different from, say, the landscape urbanists or other modernist urban practitioners. Also, the regeneration of historic patterns, not only for the value of cultural heritage, but also because sometimes the most sustainable solutions are, in fact, provided by heritage. And it's important for us to be able to use those resources without bias against the solutions of the past. Also using open, connected urbanism, Jane Jacobs urbanism, if you will, to advance diversity and equity and capacity building. And finally, public involvement and co-production, not only the formal public involvement processes, but informal co-production where the citizens are actually building and modifying and contributing to the many different scales of urban space and urban structure. So these are all really impressive achievements, but the looming question is how to implement the new urban agenda, the agenda of new urbanism, if you will. And the New Urban Agenda has a section at the conclusion talking about the importance of building platforms for peer-to-peer learning and for open, user-friendly, and participatory data exchanges. And as many of you may know, one of the most successful and widely used examples of this kind of platform is, in fact, the Wiki, Wikipedia, and so on, we're all familiar with. But less well known is that the Wiki technology was itself the direct outgrowth of the pattern language methodology described on Wikipedia, which is its best known example, as a method of describing good design practices or patterns of useful organization within a field of expertise. Pattern languages are not just useful in the built environment. In fact, they have become much more influential in the software world, for example, where the use of pattern languages of programming or design patterns has become a ubiquitous methodology used in almost every game nowadays, and as I said, in Wiki and Wikipedia, many other forms of Wiki, and in operating systems like the Mac. But you can see pattern languages in many other fields as well, in biology and in anthropology, even in physics, and so on and so forth. But that begs the question why pattern languages haven't been more useful in the built environment world. And I have some ideas about that, one of which is that the book itself has become such a classic that has really constrained development. Another is that we haven't yet applied some of these new computer-based methodologies to pattern languages. So what we wanted to do with this new project was really begin a much bigger expansion of the number of patterns beyond the original 253, and also to take them into new areas, new kinds of patterns, and then of course to take them into the realm of software with the Wiki. And with the print version, we stayed pretty close to the original pattern language format. And again, some of the patterns that are common to the New Urban Agenda and the Charter of the New Urbanism, walkable, multi-mobility, mixed use, and so on and so forth. but also there are different kinds of patterns here that reflect new kinds of challenges for retrofit and informal settlements, urban regeneration, new kinds of implementation patterns, different tools and strategies, different organizational patterns of subsidiarity and governance and so on, different kinds of legal mechanisms and ownership mechanisms to promote affordability and so on. And then finally, of course, new kinds of technological patterns, citizen data, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, the Wiki repository, which is a very important aspect of this project, to be able to take not only the original patterns that we wrote, but many, many more patterns that other people could write and share and modify and so on, and greatly expand. It means that you can add many more patterns, you can edit them, you can adapt them to different contexts, you can share them across different contexts from different cities, different countries, different users. The patterns can do new things. They can pretty much do whatever the technology allows you to do, like make numeric calculations, make field measurements, do augmented reality, virtual reality simulations, function as apps. Any kind of technology that you can get on an app, you could probably do as part of a pattern. And you can create federated collections that can be shared as whole clusters with other groups of people, and they can transform them and use them and then share them back. And you can play with it online. It's just npl.wiki or npl.wiki. Just enter that into your browser window, and you can play with it and you can see how it works. We're still adding capabilities, the ability to edit and to federate and do other things, but you'll begin to see how it's working and where we're headed with this. And I hope to get your comments and your feedback, your involvement. We're very excited by this project, as you can tell, and we welcome your feedback and involvement. Thank you.